coffee pot, I gave up on the other one. It's going in the trash, so I brought the one from inside, so that should work. Donuts, thanks to Ed for the cookies. Help yourself to the donuts. If you need anything else, just holler and have fun melting socks.
Today I'm just hovering, so if you need tools or soldering iron or meter or anything, I'll call mine.
How about you, Willie? What are you up to this week? Did you bring it?
I'm going to start working on the power distribution box. I finished the XG2 and I've actually used it on the now built K3.
Oh, great. Did you bring it along with it? So you
I did not, because I forgot about that. I set it on the desk to try and bring it, but I forgot about it because I've been using it.
My first project was a NorCal frequency counter, which is working. We had it calibrated, and took it home and checked my radios, and it looks real good. And since last time here, I have finished up another project that I did at home, which is an interface for my KX3 for digital work. I've got schematics here that I did, and a PC board layout. And here's another one of the printed circuit boards, double-sided, plated through holes circuit board. And here is the finished project, labeled and in its little box.
Oh, that's cool.
And this works with the KX3, provides audio in and serial port in, and generates enough cables to plug into all the various inputs on the KX3 to make it operate for digital like a K3.
It's a Bionics Tiny Track 4 APRS tracker. You can set it up so it's a digipeater that it can send messages. I went ahead and got the optional keyboard interface, so you can put a standard what is it, PS2 keyboard on there.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
I haven't soldered the wire in yet. And then you can also receive messages, read the messages that it's picking up, different position stuff. It's got onboard temperature and voltage telemetry, and it's also got some optional, I haven't looked into it a whole lot, but you can add some optional telemetry, other temperature sensor. Mm-hmm. It's one that's used fairly well for some stationary weather APRS, and maybe some other monitoring capabilities. And then you can also set it up for a tracker. You can. I haven't done any of those. So I got all the hardware done except for putting these two together. You can set it up to where you've got the GPS puck and then a computer, so you can use it with UI view as you're
So is that
running.
Is that a GPS receiver in there?
No.
Oh.
GPS receiver is right here.
Oh, it's in the puck.
Right.
Oh, cool.
I mean, this guy puts out the NEMA GPS. This is, one that he's certified. Brian is the guy that runs it. He's pretty responsive with his email and stuff too. So that you hook this up to one end, you can use this one. One of these is a serial. Yeah, here's a computer for the serial. So you can use it for the programming. You can also do command line, or he's got a little UI that you can run it on. And then power it from the cigarette lighter, plug it into the radio, and go down the road. This one, I've already got the board populated, but didn't get around to soldering it. Both of them are preamp kits, 2-meter preamp kits. The idea is this one takes a single input. This one, if you set it up, it can take the output from 2. So it's like for the cross, it's set up to use with the satellite for crossed Yagis, but you can also, it's got enough flexibility that it should come up from 137. And they say it's centered on 142, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe they set it up so that you could bring it up to the ISS frequencies and then drop it down for the 137 weather satellites, right enough. But,
Or it may just be broad enough, if it's centered at 142, we can do both.
well, one of the things that they're bragging about is how it's got the 3-pole.
So it's narrow.
It's supposed to be pretty narrow, so I don't know. I'll find out.
It's got a built-in preamp, and it's got a helical filter in there as well to keep the stuff that's off to the sides. And it works really pretty well. I had this up in the air for many years in York County, and hopefully it's
So
back up
it's
in the air
like
again.
it's like the cross 2-element.
Yeah, yeah, the 4 elements just screw onto
Right.
these. It's getting a little beat up, but
Well, I don't know. It looks pretty good to me.
yeah, it's
That's beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it's been out in the weather for years and years, but this is made by Quorum, so.
It's a frequency counter and signal strength meter. Actually, that's the box that it came with. That's actually part of the kit. I just didn't bring the cabinet to begin with.
I've seen boxes cost as much as that kit did.
Well, and I swear I think he built the box in his garage. I mean, I think he bent everything himself rather than bought it as a kit. I know that they cut out the window here in the garage because I had to go out and hammer that out a little bit to flatten it where they had created some ripples in it from the cutting. But it was actually fairly nicely done. And Bill, if I can borrow your Phillips, we can look at the inside of this thing to see how it assembles. There were a couple of gotcha lessons learned here. One of them is to use the right size Phillips. We'll take it apart later, but
You need a bigger one?
yeah, it's okay. It comes with, it's a little piggyback board here for the push buttons is separate. The display is separate, and that was a one-piece thing, much like yours is. And then the main board is mounted on the bottom here, which I had to assemble. And then they just have an opening cut here in the back, big enough for everything to get in it. But all of these push buttons are just little flat 4-pin push buttons, and you would think that they are symmetrical. Apparently they're not, because the two push buttons that stay in are functioning backwards. So I have inserted them the wrong way.
180 degrees out, or maybe 90 degrees out, one or the other.
Yeah, because I'm thinking they're probably single pole, double throw, and it matters which way you insert it. Obviously, these it didn't matter on. These are just quick little push buttons. The other thing was on the display, they use a pin header and ribbon cable to go from the display to the board. And if you look at the printing on the back of the display, you would think the display goes this way with the pin header at the bottom. You have to mount it with the writing upside down in order for the text to come out in the correct orientation on the screen, and in order for the pin header not to get in the way of the main board when it's down there. So other than those little idiosyncrasies, it was a pretty simple little build. It doesn't come with any instructions. It comes with a schematic, a parts list, and a bag of parts. So it's up to you to figure out how to put it together. But I mean, what's that?
Definitely not.
And a box.
And a box, yeah.
Where is it from?
This is from Fox Delta.
Smart charger for gel cell batteries. I didn't get a lot done in the interim since our last meeting. Anyway, this is a design that was in the ARRL Ecom handbook. It's basically a two-sided device. It charges. You can either charge or hook them up to discharge, but it'll uses comparisons, a comparator IC to determine when the battery is fully charged as a reference voltage. And when the battery voltage reaches a certain point, it flips the comparator and sets off a light. Then when you're ready to use the battery, you flip a switch and it just provides normal output.
Looking on is it's a tuning can transmitter. And every time I look at the front of this thing, it's 40 meters. It says it's a 2-can, but I'm trying to figure out where's the other can. But I was just wondering, if this is a transmitter, it'd be really cool if I could find a receiver that's also a tuning can, and I can have myself a little
Well,
station.
I have it's 2 cans, a receiver and a transmitter. They're two separate units.
Okay, so there is
Yeah.
one available, huh?
Yeah, I should have brought it today, but I didn't.
Oh, that
But,
would be
yes,
cool.
I'll
That
bring
would
it to
really
the, I'll
be a
bring it to
cool
the meeting.
illustration, man. That
Yeah.
would really be great. But basically, I haven't gotten a whole lot done. The only time I'm really working on this. Good. You want me to turn it over for you?
Oh, there's a pretty part. Yes.
Yes, indeed. I didn't get a whole lot done the last time. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to review what I did. I was only here for a few hours the last time because I had a birthday party to go to, but other than that, that's, what you see is what I got.
Excellent.
I bought this coax crimper, gosh, a year and a half ago. And then the guy says, well, I now have the power pole die set available for it. So I said, well, let me buy that from you. And I did. Then I realized that I already had the power pole crimp set in there. So I'm gonna have to talk to Bill at Quicksilver Radio.
Regular prescription glasses, price-wise, it makes Oakley look cheap overall.
No.
Like that, right?
Not breakfast today, I was going out to, I'm at the Ham Radio Builders Group.
Brand for their glasses.
There you go.
Yeah,
I heard it.
So, yeah.
It sounded
Supposed to
good.
be home
Click,
right
click.
around 12:30.
I'm just getting an eyeball for measurement. I mean to cut the.
Okay.
So by the time you add all those options up, you end up with a, you know, $1,000 pair of glasses instead of what should have been a $200 pair of glasses. You run into the door now. They go on a certain place on the counter and that's it. That's where they stay until I leave again. I don't need them to watch television. I don't need them to work on anything. I need the reading glasses occasionally, you know, but they just don't get involved in anything else. It's just like right now. They're sitting over there on the table.
Tim was there and helped move it. And these, they're exactly what you described, and it only cost me $307. I thought that was high. But
Exactly.
because they only get one every other year.
I need to do a lot of
Don't take it apart because you'll never get it back together.